very, very big congratulations, on a 250th, event like this. I have not exhibited this level of consistency ever in my life. Okay, be it whatever meetings, whatever gatherings, even our VP meetings are not as consistent as you guys have shown. So big thanks for this. It's great. It's great to be part of this group. But also it's kind of awkward, me doing a keynote on a Toastmasters club, because personally, I think I'm very socially awkward and a big introvert. Coming to Toastmaster for keynote itself is an achievement, actually. So I'll explain few things through my own journey of communication, how I improved, some anecdotes of my life. But for the basics, I think communication is starts with a thought. I mean, you need to have a thought. So always it starts with a great thought. Then you want to express that thought. Then you need a form for that. Then a great channel to be chosen for passing on that form. And form is, of course, language, appearance, silence, speech. All of these are forms. Then, of course, you want to sense your audience. That's why I'm thankful to Rahul that he asked you people to open up your camera. Otherwise, I wouldn't know to whom I'm talking to, what's the response, are people enjoying it? Like, this is very, very important. As a speaker, if your audience is not with you, you get lost, actually. You don't know where you are in this journey. And then some of you are very, very good at, being agile and spontaneous, versus some of us, especially me, is like prepared, practiced, to the last script. So both have their place in this public speaking, if you wish to call. So I'm the planning and practice type. And of course, the objective needs to be there. Are we, in this particular session, are we appealing to the minds of our audience, or are we appealing to the hearts of our audience? What are we getting up to? So this is basic. With this framework, if you enter, then everything else will flow. Okay, in this session, I'm approaching the intellect of my audience, or am I approaching the emotion of my audience? So these are some things that I keep in mind while I come and speak out to a group. But more than all of these, friends, is the self-esteem. I think if that is high, everything flows. And why I said I was very awkward to be part of keynote today was my self-esteem was so low when I started off. And so it's never too late to start, like Rahul answered today, never too late. Self-esteem could be low because of lack of language ability, lack of formal training, lack of opportunity, lack of exposure, for many things. And I had a very low self-esteem also when I started. Of course, the lower middle class background adds to it. And then for me, language was the first problem in terms of form, because until 7th, I studied Gujarati medium. Okay, like my science, my social, my maths, everything was taught in Gujarati. So the best English I had was like, my 6th standard English was, he is Rama, she is Kamala, he wears blue shirt, she wears blue skirt. That's it. That's English for me. And from there, the journey started. So lack of language, vocabulary is not a constraint, because there are strengths. My number crunching, my arithmetic, my thought, my logic was so good that language came along. You need to figure out what's your strength. The rest will come along. For you, some of you, language may be strength, then use it. For some of you, something else is your strength, so use it. So that will really, really lift your ability. After that, the rest will flow, I think. So how did all this happen? How did I come from that low self-esteem, socially? Why am I saying socially awkward? For example, I was so good in math, I would score 100 on 100. And most beautiful girls in the class would walk over to my home and want to get tuition from me. And I would be so socially awkward. I would just pass on my books and not even speak to them. Okay, like the time where I could enjoy my strength, I didn't. So very, very socially awkward. And I come this far. Few things that I did right, and that's what I want to share with you today. I think one is I took risks at the right time. Public speaking is a risk. Even today, it's a risk. Okay? Even today, I'm talking to an audience that I know for sure, respect me. They are working with me. They are my colleagues. But butterflies are there even before I switched on my mic today. So it won't go away. Every occasion is a risk, but it's the only way to overcome is like go through the process and then do it repeatedly, and then you'll be fine. So I took risk. I went to a completely English medium school in 8th. I could have stayed in Gujarati till 8th, 9th, 10th also, but there was no choice. I had to overcome that limitation. I went there, and guess what? The next month, I signed up for an English debate class. Okay, so I sign up as my house rep came to the class and says, okay, who is good in what? And then I picked up, okay, I will do English debate. And then it took like 1 month to really prepare for that event, because I had to overcome that self-esteem issue that I'm going to make it here. So that was the first anecdote. Don't worry about failure. Especially in speaking, if you worry about failure, you will not proceed. So when I was learning Korean language, this was the only mantra that helped me progress in my language and ability to speak. Was I didn't mind if I made mistakes, because I was going to make mistakes. I knew it. I'm going to make many mistakes. So it's okay. We should accept that there might be mistakes in the process, but in 4th, 5th, 6th time, that mistake will not be repeated. Some other mistake will happen. That's fine. So I will improve on that, and then another mistake will get created. I will repeat. That's okay. But there are some risk about this. I had the Samsung Electronics CFO visiting Bangalore airport, and I had to accompany him all the way from Bangalore airport to Harman in Whitefield. That's the time when we acquired Harman, actually. And he had come first time to India to see Harman. So I showed off initially my Korean skills, the lobby, airport, initial standard things, coffee, would you want to use restroom, things like that. So he thought I knew Korean very well. So he just started off, okay, he just didn't speak English at all throughout of 1 hour Bangalore traffic from airport all the way up to Harman. I was like, my God, I got only 40-50% of what he said. And he might have asked me to do something that I have not even understood. So the end of it, I had to tell him, if there were some important things that you really wanted me to follow, I'm sorry, but I got only 40-50% of what you said. And he was like, you should have told me back there. Like, why did you suffer the entire journey? I was like continuously speaking Korean to you. But it was good experience. To be frank, you need to be frank with them at the end of it. If you got it or not, no ego. You should be fine to give it back and then get at least the message. You don't want to get the impression. Your impression is not important. Whether you got the communication right, that is more important than the impression. And of course, there were funny things like I spoke to the mobile CEO DJ Go for about 15-20 minutes in Korean. And finally, he asked me, is there a girl teaching you Korean? Because all your vocabulary is only ladies will speak like that. No men will use these words in Korean language. I like, yeah, sure. My secretary taught all of this, so my language is like that. But I never mind. I kept doing. This was the second thing. Not worrying about failure. And repeated practice. I think Atikan told just before that. I think this is the only mantra to be good at it. Repeated practice. Yeah, some of you are blessed. I'm not blessed with this, but some of you are definitely blessed. You are so spontaneous. You don't need to really sit and prepare. You just look at the audience and the words flow, your thoughts flow. But for some of us who are not that, better to be prepared and practice. Actually, when I went to IMB, things changed a lot for me, because till then, you just go write in an exam paper and you can be class topper, right? You can get 95, 96, 97, your physics, chemistry, math. But as soon as you enter the MBA school, 40% of your marks is whether you're speaking in the class or not. So your exam paper gives you only 60%. That means you don't have a choice. If you want to be in the top among the class, you have to speak. If you don't speak, 40% is completely gone. You get 0 out of 40. So that put me into this very uncomfortable, class participation score of 40%. I had no choice but to muster up courage, build up thoughts. And these people are coming from really, I came from I told you already about my English background, and these people were from most of the elite schools in the country. And if you have to sit there and have an opinion about a subject, and they actually get more score if they oppose you very aggressively in the class. So they are all out to get you. Whatever you say, there are 10 people who want to oppose that view about the same case. And your language itself is not enough. So you really prepare, practice. I think those 2 years changed me a lot. After that, I was much better, more comfortable with myself. One more thing about communication I learned very early was, because I was on the other side of the table, is empathy. I never used jargons. I never used acronyms. I made sure that I'm not confusing the other guy with all these flashy, impressive English glossary that I have. Through all of that, I kept very simple, kept it simple and stupid, because I was on the other side of the table. I knew that if I have to get this message across, it has to be simple and stupid. So very carefully, I removed all the jargons. Even if I attended IIM Bangalore, usually people walk out with a 10,000 jargons that you can use across your conversations. I left it back there. When I came out, I came out without those jargons, actually. So this also helped, empathy with your audience. And one more thing that helped me was taking feedback. After every session, initially in SRIB, once I went up on stage, I used to call, Ravi Kumar Kalaimani, Pankaj, Parshuram Kadadi, all these people, Rajesh Vandanapur, hey, how was it, man? Did you really get what I wanted to say is what you got, or you got something else? I wanted to make sure they got what I wanted. So there was always this feedback that helped. And even then, no, just very recently in this position, I was called for my daughter's, 10th standard graduation, farewell speech at Sophia School. And I knew I am entering a ICSE school, so I want to get it right again. So I asked my entire speech to be reviewed by my daughter. And she gave me very good feedback that is not going to work in this audience. And then working in a Korean company, I had lost all my articles. A and the were not part of my vocabulary at all. They were all out of the window. So she put all of that back in, made sure that it was an ICSE level kind of farewell speech. And I think that at least the teacher told me that day that this was the best farewell speech this school has got in last 10 to 15 years. So that really helped. It was little more teenage type, little more social networking type. All the vocabulary used was really appealing to those teens. So feedback from the audience, if you have a chance to take it, don't miss it. Before your presentation, get what the audience wants and then deliver to the audience. Use of props sometimes has helped. And always it's a win-win with the audience. You are not going to win against the audience. It's win-win with the audience. If the audience is not winning, your speech is useless. It's just a great impression made. Nobody got anything out of it. So win-win, I'm going there to have a win-win. They should gain something. When today also, I don't know, maybe 60, 70, 100 of you are spending your 20 minutes to listen to me. It's a burden, okay? It's an obligation. When 20 minutes of 100 people's time is invested, are you delivering something? Did they carry something at all? So that win-win attitude is very critical. And of course, these are the two things that I will tell and close today. Storytelling, like Atikant said, I learned it very late in my career. I am very happy that many of young people here, I'm just seeing Arihant Garg in front of me here. Storytelling is so important in the career, and we learn it very late in the career. So sooner you learn about it, it's better, because you are telling stories all the time to your team, to your partners, to your ecosystem, to your collaborator. to your, don't tell stories to your boss, but yeah, for the rest is okay. Storytelling, very, very critical. And one thing I want to leave you with is, especially, in Toastmasters Club, I don't know where you emphasize, it's on speech, better ability, maybe stage presence. But what's more important in communication is the silence, not speech. So especially as a leader, when you are in office, almost 12 hours you are on stage. People are not just watching your speech, they are watching your silence also. Your silence speaks more than your speech. Where you are silent, what are your expressions there? Are you encouraging, are you discouraging these behaviors? So please give equal importance to the speech and the silence. These two are very important. And once again, congratulations to all of you to have signed up for such a great club, worldwide and SRIB chapter. Wish you all the best in the future, and wish you more learning. Thank you. Back to Rahul. Thank you.
Thank you so much.